Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. We've got some very interesting setups this week. The reason why I say interesting is because they look very clear. And most of the setups, almost 95% of the setups that we analyzed in the last couple of days, weeks, have been spot on. So we're gonna have a look at that, and then we're gonna look at the new setups as well for the week. It's gonna be an interesting week. Let's have a look here. Before we get started with the webinar, we have just completed our course for June. And our next course is going to be on the 5th of August. So 5th of August until the 15th of August is going to be our next course. So if you're interested in joining us, on joining the course, send me an email as per my details on my videos. You'll find my contact details on all the YouTube videos. If you go to the description of the videos, you'll find my email address there, my WhatsApp or Telegram mobile number that you can use there. Also, there's also a Telegram channel, but that Telegram channel is not for setups. It's simply for where I post the live webinar links. Also, please don't send inquiries via TradingView, because I hardly check that inbox on TradingView. So the best is either an email, Telegram, or WhatsApp mobile number. That's where you get a response quicker. So as far as the course is concerned, the information that you get the content of the course, the timing of the course, and the cost of the course. So all the details will be detailed on the response that you get after you make any inquiry. Very interesting course. So also, what we do in our group, we've got these live webinars on a daily basis. It's Mondays to Thursdays. So what you see here is an overview for the weekly, for the market analysis. So on a daily basis, we go into detail, looking at specific trade setups, looking at entries and exits. That's what we do in our group. That's the difference between what I do here on a weekly basis and what we do in our group. So we use a Slack group. So if you're going to join us, please download Slack, and we'll add you into our group as soon as you join us then. Right, and also this course is fully recorded and packaged in videos, so you don't have to wait for August. You can take the course at any time. You can start watching the videos and attend the live courses when they are due in August. All right, so let's get started. We've been looking at cryptocurrencies. We'll start with the cryptocurrencies. Let's start with Bitcoin. I've been showing historical analysis, or maybe a higher time frame analysis, for the last couple of weeks. So now let's go into details, because we now know where the trend is going. The trend is going upside, so we're going to look at the lower time frames just to look for continuation patterns. So let's have a look at Bitcoin on the 1 hour. I'll show you just the daily view also, just to recap what we've been looking at. So I'm looking at this. The last high that we had on this was on the 26th of June. That's what we had at about 14,000 for Bitcoin. So since then, we've had a pullback in 3 waves. You can see that we've got these 3 waves pull back, and then we've got this push up in an impulse. I'm going to show this one in green. We've got this push in an impulse. Now we got this current corrective structure. It's also an impulse as well. This is a correction. So this is what I expect. I expect this to continue a little bit further to the downside. So on retesting the bottom there, I expect a typical correction like this one here. Maybe you get another 3 wave pullback coming here, breaking the low before we get continuation pattern to the upside. So that is the anticipated view on Bitcoin. So what will this look like? You're gonna have a 3 wave move pullback to the downside. You're gonna have a 3 wave pullback to the upside. That's your X and then your Y. So you've got a WXY corrective structure that may look something like that. Okay, so we'll be watching this and seeing how this continues to the upside. So what you're simply looking for, you're looking for the bigger corrective structure for upsides. And the bigger the correction, the bigger the move to the upside. So we know that Bitcoin, the trend is up. We've picked up the trend from right at the bottom, and now we're just looking for this continuation pattern. It is currently pulling back. It is correcting. It may make this move, or this is it. Let me show you the second alternative here. So we could have this one retracing the bottom and going up there and making this bigger structure here. Alternatively, I'm going to clear this. Alternatively, these can just pull back here and retest the bottom, and just continue from here. Okay, but what we need to do to look at this is you wait for this one to break the low here, wait for this upside. If you're going to take the move to the upside, you need to move your stop to break even when you get to that level, because when you get to that level, there's a possibility for this to give you this move that we're looking for. So if you don't get this one can go from here. So you need to catch both moves. So that means you, whenever you get a setup here, you need to take the trade again and ride the trend. So those who took it from the bottom, once this corrective structure is done, you just move your stop and protect your profits around this level. Let's just show that just below the corrective structure, and that's how you protect your profits. So whatever happens, you don't lose your money. You're gonna be okay in within this trade. So we're looking for the trend to continue. Simple stuff on the cryptocurrencies. Let's look at Litecoin as well. Before we look at Litecoin, I said I was going to show you the overall bigger picture here on the daily. Let's just see what the daily looks like here. So you can see the trend is upside. I showed you this fractals last week, where you've got these corrective structure that are so similar. They just keep doing that, and you could be getting another similar corrective structure like that here in the big. That's the bigger structure that I'm focusing here. So you could be getting another one, and then a push up from here. So this is what I was showing you in the lower time frame. Okay, so we took the trade from this point here. Okay, so we've been riding it since then. So if you get this deeper pullback from here now, what I was showing, then you can also continue to ride the trend. So let's look at the higher degree structure here. Let's go to the weekly here. So if you look at Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrencies, that is the structure that we have been anticipating. It's a bit of a pullback now. It does not mean reversal. It is reversed, obviously, right from the 61.8. So you expect a reaction, not a reversal, a reaction from there and continue to the upside. Okay, it is necessary for this to pull back before pushing to the upside. So we need that corrective structure. So you can see spot on, right on the 61 retracement. We have this. So this should not mean that you're going to get continuation patterns to the downside. That will not make structural sense if it starts going back from here. Okay. All right. So let's continue. We'll look at Litecoin. Litecoin is similar. I'm on the daily here. Litecoin had a simple structure. It's a pullback here. I've been showing this for the last couple of months, if not actually since the correction started in the beginning of 2019. Right, so you've had this pullback and now you're looking for this move. You had started with this move to the upside. Let me show you with a different color. This was the impulsive move, and now we're looking for a similar move to do that. Okay, so what are we looking for? Same as Bitcoin, we're looking for continuation patterns to the upside. Okay, so let's have a look now into the lower degrees. Let's go for hour. So on the 4 hour, this has actually made an expanding flat here. If you look at this here, this is an expanding flat. Normally, I disqualify an expanding flat that goes below the 1,618 extension of this one. But in this case, it has played out. So you can use your own discretion. It is actually a guideline. There's a guideline that we use for the length of the expanding flat here. So we've got a pulsing move from here, and that is going up in 3 waves like that. So after that, you need to get a pullback, same as we're expecting with Bitcoin. It may be a bigger pullback that corrects everything before we push to the upside. So you've got a corrective structure, and after the correction, you get a pulsing move to the upside. Now you've got a corrective structure here starting up here. Let's have a look at it on the 1 hour and see how this is playing out like. So if you look on the 1 hour, you'll see that this 5-wave move to the upside is already completed, and we are now going to start a corrective structure. So now let's have a look here. So what you don't see clearly here is that there's an impulse in the opposite direction. You don't see it because you're seeing just one hour candle. If you go to the 30 minutes chart, you will be able to see it clearly. You see there is a candle, there's a move to in the opposite direction here to the downside. So you've got that move down here. You've got what looks like a corrective structure here. So this could do this, make a correction and start making a move to the downside and start going sideways. It has to go sideways the same way. It should be following the structure that Bitcoin will be following for upside. So we will be expecting a bit of a bigger correction there. Okay, so let's watch and see how these corrective structures will look like. And that's what we need for, especially for those that are not riding the trend on the cryptocurrencies. Ethereum, similar structure as Bitcoin. Let's see here, we've got a pullback. I'm on the 30 minutes. Let's go to the 1 hour. The lower time frames on the cryptos, they look very interesting. So you can get short-term trades here. So let's have a look at what you can get here. So there's a nice setup here that you can look at here. So same as Bitcoin, we had this one making a high here at around 1363, 363 rather. So you've got a pullback in 3 waves here. You've got a push up in 3 waves. Now this is coming down. So there's a likelihood that this makes another 3-wave move here like this before we push higher. So that will be the bigger corrective structure or bigger pullback that you're looking for. That is necessary for this to make continuation moves to the upside. Now, just make note here with this pullback here. Let's clean this up here a bit. Make note here with this pullback here. It can play out differently. The structure will still remain the same, but let's take this off here. So you need to anticipate both possibilities when you trade, because what I'm showing you here is not magic. I'm showing you the Elliott wave principle, how the Elliott wave principle is applied. So I show you the application and how this theory is interpreted. So if I'm wrong, it does happen that I do get the setups wrong as well. So that means I may have interpreted the structures incorrectly, or I didn't read it correctly. But the theory is accurate, as you've seen with the rest of the if you watch the rest of the previous videos, and how the analysis has been coming in the last couple of weeks, especially recently if you keep watching on those videos. So let's have a look here. So what is the other alternative here? Alternatively here, this can do this. Let me take off that. You are looking for this setup to come to the downside. So what if this just corrects here and makes another 3-wave move here, makes a move to the upside and then give you that 3-wave pullback that you're looking for to the downside? That is also possible. So that simply means this can actually just make a regular flat there, or any other corrective structure. It does not have to be this single one only that you cannot tell. This is like putting pieces of the puzzles. It depends how much information or how many pieces of the puzzles that you have for you to actually see the clearer picture of what you're building. So here you could have this one continuing like that. That is if it does not give you the flat correction first, or even a triangle, or whichever structure that you would have learned in the Elliott wave theory. So anticipate both possibilities. But here we're anticipating that this will pull back at least like that. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. So we've got these nice pullbacks that are necessary. So let's look at Ripple as well. Ripple also looking interesting. You've got the similar structure here that looks like it's going to break to the downside. Let's change color there, go back to yellow. It looks like it's going to break structure here. A correction here in the lower degree, can come back down here and make a move like that as well. Now, on Ripple as well, make note, you could have this 3-wave move coming down and making another 3-wave move here, making a flat correction before it makes a pullback like that. So then you'll have this one here. Let's draw it cleanly. You would have this one here as a 3-wave move here. This pullback, and then the overall structure becomes a WXY corrective structure. Okay, so that is what you could possibly have here. You could have a 3-3-5 or a 3-3 structure. Okay, so anticipate both possibilities here. Anticipate that this can also go like that as well. Bit of a pullback. This is a 1 hour, so these moves are not big that I'm focusing here. All right, so that is all on the cryptos. Let's go on to the indices. Somebody made a comment that I'm spending too much time on the cryptos and the indices. Remember, there are timestamps. You don't have to watch the whole videos. There are timestamps, just to divert a bit. There are timestamps that you can use when you're watching the video. You can just click onto specific pairs that you're interested in. You don't have to watch the whole thing. That will help you. All right, so let's go on to the indices. The indices have been very interesting. Very simple analysis on the indices in the last couple of months. All right, so let's have a look. What are we looking for now? We've got a pullback. I'm going to look at let's look at all of them on the 1 hour time frame. So we had these pullbacks. that we focused how far, and you see how deep they went. We focused that they were going to reverse here. So this is S&P 500. So we've had this three-wave pullback, and now we're pushing higher. Now, right back onto the previous highs again. This is the all-time highs. We're getting these pullbacks. So it does not mean reversal either. So you can see that we've got an impulse here. You've got this corrective structure here. This may do that as well. So you could have this one making a three-wave pullback. So we just need to watch and see how this happens here. Alternatively, if we get a corrective structure here, this can retest here first, come back here before it goes. Either way, what you're looking for is a corrective structure, whether it's going to go sideways or whether it's going to pull back slightly. That is what we need to get more information to trade. So that will be an ABC and not a WXY structure. That means you're expecting 5 waves and 5 waves on C as well. Okay. So let's watch this and see how this plays out. Right, so don't panic when you see such things. When you see this coming down here, don't panic. You need to understand. If you understand the cycle, you will not panic when you see structures like that. Okay, that's what we're expecting upside. That's the S&P 500. The Dow Jones is a similar structure. You have pullbacks here, corrective structures, pullback, possible like that. Even here, you could have this one doing that, like that. Okay, so either way, this should continue to the upside. So we're just looking for continuation patterns to the upside. So also an ABC pullback here for more upside. All right, that is the Dow. The Dow and the NASDAQ is also a similar structure. It's just the only difference is that the NASDAQ is not back at the previous highs, but you'll see that the 1 hour structures are all similar. All you want here is for this to break down out of this corrective structure to give you the same one that it gave you there. So 3-wave pullback and then continuation to the upside. If you don't get this pullback, what you're going to find here is a corrective structure, retest here possibly. If it retraces here after a corrective structure, I don't think it will go straight. I think it will come back for one and make a regular flat. I think it will make a regular flat like that before it goes. So making this 3-wave structure there. Let's clean this up here. Making this 3-wave structure there with this one in green, like that. Making this regular flat. That will be your structure and that will be your ABC correction. Not everything is ABC, it's only ABC based on the structure. All right, so that's what we'll be looking at. So give it a bit more time and to see where how the corrective structure is going to play out. It's all corrective structures nonetheless, regardless of how it plays out, it's continuation patterns for further upside. That is the NASDAQ. Let's look at UK 100 or NIKKEI first. Let's do the NIKKEI first. Now looking at the NIKKEI, this should lead us in terms of the structure of what the other indices are going to play out as. So we've got a 3-wave pullback here. You've got an impulsive move here. So this impulsive move here could retest the top. Okay, could retest the top, come back down, and then go. Either that, or it can be going from there, and that is all the correction that it needs, and then it starts going like that. Okay, so we've just focused here on the S&P 500 and the Dow and the NASDAQ that we're looking for at least a pullback to the downside. So we need to watch both of these in terms of correlation because they're going to go together. Let's do this here. Remember, correlation is very important. So I'm going to put S&P 500 on the left-hand side, and I'm going to put the NIFTY on the right-hand side. So what are we going to get? We said here on the S&P 500, this looks like a corrective structure. That was the first alternative. Here you're getting a pullback. Let's get this one in. I need to get them all in the lower time frames. Let's put them both in the 4-hour. It's clear there. Put it on the 4-hour. Rather 1 hour. Okay, so the NIKKEI has got a clearer structure. It's got a 3-wave pullback. And when you look at the NIKKEI, you can see that it wants to push higher. Okay, we've got a pulsing move to the upside, we've got a corrective structure. So if the Nikkei is going to push higher, that means that what you're going to find here is the second alternative on the S&P 500 that's going to push and retest the top there. Okay, because they are correlated and we expect them to move together. Okay, obviously depending on the strength of the correlation for that specific period. So that's what we're going to have. So let's continue with the rest. That is the Nikkei. Now we need to look at the UK 100. Let's look at the UK 100. Back to one chart. UK 100 has been pulling back correctively. If you want to focus and identify the corrective structure here, you'll see that you've got this corrective structure here in the middle. Let's see, you've got 1, 2, 3 wave pullback. This also could be a regular flat, and you could have something like this. Okay, so either way, all the indices are making these corrective structures. The correct question is whether we're going to get this pullback first to the downside, or is it going to continue from current levels. So we need to see when the market opens whether we're going to start corrective structures or whether we're going to start corrective structures for further move to the upside, or whether we're going to get a pulsing move to get the last piece to the downside. So let's watch and see what happens there. Either way, you can see that this is a corrective structure and we're looking for upside. Okay, if you look on the 4 hour, we focused on this corrective structure, the bigger one, and that after this was going to make a continuation patterns to the upside. So we are simply looking for these to make continuation patterns to the upside. You're not just looking at flex, you must be looking at the whole cycle. We look at the whole cycle for this. Right, so that is the UK 100 looking upside there, and then the DAX has got a similar structure as the UK 100. So you can see that it looks like the S&P 500, based on correlation, we are going to go with the second alternative because they're all pushing to the upside. This one is already corrected and pushed up higher. We just want to break these all-time highs. If we break these all-time highs, we're going to see a big move to the upside. So let's see how this plays out. Let's see this. It will be very foolish to actually buy this before it breaks above here, because this can actually come back for one here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 to the upside. Then you get this flat correction here. So don't try to don't attempt to let's just see here. Don't attempt to buy it at current levels. You need to have it correcting above there. Then we know that it's going to go, and we're not going to get that one to the downside. All right, so that is the DAX. And lastly, the NIFTY. Let's look at the NIFTY. Now, looking at the NIFTY on the 4 hour, you see that there's a 3-wave pullback. There's a 3-wave move to the upside. So that is a W, that is your X, you're expecting a Y here, you're expecting another 3 waves to the downside. Okay, so the NIFTY can actually go opposite to the rest of the indices that we've looked at. So you can get this structure. So what you need to see, watch out for here is a corrective structure to take it down, to get this. It's just a lower degree. You can get an entry in the lower degree. This is a bigger one, and it should reverse typically here in the blue box around this area. Okay, so that is what we project as our anticipated reversal area for the NIFTY and continue to the upside. So if you're trading the NIFTY, watch out for this level for upside. Okay, and that concludes the indices. Now let's go into the measures. That is the US dollar pairs. Let's look at Euro US dollar. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at Euro US dollar together with the dollar index. Let's put them both on one screen. So on top, you'll see that's Euro US dollar. The bottom, I'm going to put on the dollar index. The structure is very clearly correlated there. So let's have a look here. What happened to my labeling on the dollar index? That's because it's not on the daily. Let's put it on the daily. There we go. So you can see they are correlated peep for peep for the last couple of months. Okay, so we said On Euro US dollar, we're anticipating that, let's switch off the labeling here. You can take a screenshot of the labeling here. Let's do this here. Right, so this is the anticipation here. We're anticipating that this will come and retest the top here. Let's use a different color there. Want it to come retest the top there, or even break it slightly, because the structure that we're looking at now is push up here 3 waves, push down here 3 waves, push up in 3 waves. So that will be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in red and a WXY correction, after which we'll expect this to continue to the downside. Now the dollar index is exactly the same, but opposite, inverse. You're expecting this to go and retest here. Let's show the dollar index retest area. So the structure that you're looking at here at the top, so let me do this one here. So if you look at this here, you'll see that it broke the bottom. So it can actually be a running flat or a expanding flat. So if it is a running flat, that means it can actually turn at any time without having to retest the top here. Same here, it can also turn at any time without having to retest the bottom. So we just have to see and wait for, or look out for any reversal signs if it's going to reverse without retesting the top. The bottom in the case of the dollar index. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. So you're looking for this remaining move to the upside, may even break it slightly and make an expanding flat. Similar here, may break it slightly and make an expanding flat, and then you get this, which is the same as this. So that is simple analysis on both pairs. Euro US dollar at the top, expecting continuation to the upside up to this level minimum, and the dollar index up to this level at least. All right, that is the dollar index and Euro US dollar. Okay, let's go back to one chart. So now, if you're looking for trades on Euro US dollar, it's going to be very short-term trades, but you're getting a setup here, you're getting a corrective structure here, that should take you back to that level. It's the opposite for Euro US dollar. All right, now let's look at US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD spot on, playing out nicely there. So if you look at US dollar CAD, I have been expecting that from the end of this correction, we're going to get a big move to the downside. Now, I'm a little bit cautious now. Obviously, we've dropped a couple of 100 pips from this correction. Okay, we've dropped from 135, currently at 131. Right, so now the reason why I'm not convinced that this is the one that we're waiting for is because it is coming down in 3 waves. So if it's coming down in 3 waves, this is what it could possibly do. Push down here. Give us the actual last one before we get the big one. We've seen it happen before, and I've shown this last week as well. I'm going to show it again. We've seen it happen. So it is coming down in 3 waves, unless this is making a 1, 2, and then we're going to get a 3, 4, and a 5, which I don't really expect in this case. So let's see where this happened before. If you look at this, I'm going to switch off here. We've actually traded it exactly the same. If you look at this piece here, I'm on the daily here. If you look at this, in 2017, we were doing these videos also, and I explained exactly the same thing, that this is a 3-way move coming down. It is not going to go, okay? And some trend line traders were actually saying, okay, this has actually broken the trend line. So remember, this is before you get this piece. So let's just show you here. If you look at this trend line, before you get this piece, you'll think, okay, we've broken here and then we're ready to go, right? And even better, they will say, okay, it has broken and it is actually retesting. Breaks, and they talk about retesting. Let me draw this cleanly. So I want to show you why I'm very conscious about this one. So you've got this 3-wave move here to the downside, 1, 2, 3, okay? And a bit of a pullback here, and that pullback is what they would think that is the retest. Sometimes you get it right with trend lines, but most of the time you're going to get it wrong if you're not following the cycles and the structures. Now, what we said at that specific time, I said, this is a 3-wave move down. If it cannot come down in 3 waves, it needs to complete this last 3 waves, and then we get this one. I showed a couple of last week or the week before when analyzing USD CAD how we traded this. Okay, so this was not done in hindsight. Now exactly the same thing is happening here, only that this is a wider three-wave structure. Now I'm anticipating that we may get a bit of a pullback. I've constructed the blue box area with the anticipated reversal area for this to give us the last one before we get the big one that we're looking for. The big one here was the 1,300 pips. Okay, so we're expecting similar as well. So now, if we're looking at these structures, am I just looking for breakouts and these three-wave moves? There is a relationship between all of this whole pattern. So the whole thing here from here is a corrective structure. And what is that relationship? Let me show you now. So you've got a pullback here, three waves in the 1,300 pips that we got here. Okay, now you're getting this corrective structure here. So whatever is going to happen here, you're going to be expecting that this is a first three-wave move. That's a W. That is another either 11 swing sequence, WXY, XZ, and another structure like that. After which then you can expect move to the upside. Let me just make a full screen here. Let me draw it again clearly so you can see where we're going with this. You've got a pulsing move, correction, and a correction, and a pulsing move. Now you're getting this corrective structure here again. So that corrective structure could be your X there. Then you get another one like that, making a WXY structure, and then you go up like that. This will simply be a, let's do this with arrows, three-wave move. Simple like that. So that is why we're anticipating the bigger one to the downside as well. Okay, it will also not come in a straight line. It may drop here, make another bigger correction, not as big as this one though, and make another one correction, and then a drop. Okay, so that's how we're looking at USD CAD. So where's the blue box area? Let's show that now. Let's go to the 4 hour. I'll try to give you a better view. I just was just saying I must do all the pairs in full screen. Things I also want to see, see closer views as well, but we'll try. Okay, so the projected blue box area here, I did not project it. You'll see it next week on the next one. Or maybe we can do it now. Let's do this now. Right, so we have projected here the anticipated reversal area for this pair is going to be around this area. That is if we're gonna get that last move to the upside. Because of this being there, three-wave move to the downside. So your anticipated reversal area on USD CAD is here in the blue box. So we'll expect maybe another three-wave move up before we come down. Okay. That's USD CAD. Dropping nicely though. All right, so let's look at USD-CHF. USD-CHF, let's look in the daily. So USD-CHF, you just look at what Euro US dollar is doing and just trade the opposite. So Euro US dollar is still looking to the upside. So here you just wait for this corrective structure, possibly come and retest here. So the structure that is possibly happening here, which we'll adjust if necessary, is that you've got a pullback here and you've got the three-way move to the upside, and then you're getting this passing move to the downside. So this one could be coming to retest here. Okay, so that's what you're anticipating, that after the euro is done with its upside here, this should then start the move to the upside while the euro continues with the move to the downside. That's what we're expecting here. So here you've got a three-way move back, you've got a three-way move to the upside. Let's show those waves. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's the lower degree here. We're not going to go into the lower degree, and then you're getting this, what looks like an impulsive move. So this is actually an ABC, maybe an ABC expanding or a running flat. Okay, because it has, the B has broken the top there. All right, so that's what you're looking at. Continuation patterns to the downside. Look for continuation to the downside on US dollar CHF. Pound US dollar. So pound US dollar, I've said for the last couple of Weeks that you don't buy pound pairs. Pound pairs are looking downside long term. Let me show you the view again that I've shown a couple of times. Somebody said, made a comment, I can't remember, I think it was on USDCHF, no, Pound Chiefs, saying that there are some pairs that don't follow the Elliott wave structure. There is no such. All pairs follow the Elliott wave structure, and that is how we've been analyzing them for the last couple of years. Now, let's have a look at this here. You see here, you've got an expanding flat, textbook expanding flat, which we forecasted, and now you're looking for this to come down. This has played out so far. Okay, we're still looking for this to continue to the downside. Now, what do you look out for if you've got the trend? You've got the trend, the same thing that I said on Bitcoin. You know the trend is up. All you do is look for continuation patterns. That means corrective structures. Here it looks like you're getting another expanding flat, and you're going to get continuation to the downside. Let's have a look at that with in the lower time frame. It looks interesting. Let's look at that on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, let's have a look here. So if you look at this on the 1 hour, you've got a pulsing move here. You got a corrective structure here. And you may be getting continuation pattern to the downside. We've already started this move. This is where your expanding flat ended, and this is where the move to the downside started. And I've been saying that you only look for continuation patterns. All continuation patterns are opportunities to sell. Okay, so that may be a continuation pattern, or you could have looked at this one as an expanding flat. It's an expanding flat, looking for this to come down like that. Okay, so look for this one here. Look for this one here. You already have an impulse. You may not see it here because I'm on the 1 hour time frame. If you go to the 30 minutes, you'll see that there's an impulse. See, the reason why I don't want to go to full screen is because I don't have access to all the tools on the full screen. So I need to go to the 30 minutes now. So this is the pulsing move that you don't see. You see the pulsing move here? That's what you see on the, you can only see it if you go to the lower time frame. So you've got that, you got this one here, it can do this. Otherwise, you're looking for continuation pattern to the downside, and that will be a regular flat. Okay, that's what pound looks like, continuation pattern to the downside. Let's do AUD before we do US dollar ZAR. Now, AUD, US dollar, let's look at the 4 hour. AUD, US dollar could be a little bit tricky here. Let's have a look on the daily. You could look at this in 3 ways. So we started the year with this capitulation move here, capitulation here. First day of trading, we went down here, and we thought that was the last move, and we're going to push to the upside because we had this pulsing move. We had this pulsing move here, and now we had this corrective structure here in 3 waves. Could this be the end? And this is going to now start going to the upside here. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we're going to get that to the upside and do that. But I don't anticipate from here that we're going to get a reversal because this has reversed a little bit too deeper than I wanted. So it may just make a 3-way move and continue to the downside. But for now, what you want to look out for is a corrective structure here for continuation to the upside. Okay. Alternatively, what you may look at here out here for is for this to continue with 1 down to retest the low here, which I don't expect. I don't expect this move, but you can consider both alternatives. You can expect this one to then make this. It will still be a corrective structure for further downside. It's just a way. It's just a matter of how this corrective structure is going to play out. Let's keep an eye on this. See if we're going to get a corrective structure when the market opens here for continuation. That's AUD, US dollar, New Zealand, looking interesting. Looking for upside there. We have made this pulsing move to the upside. We're making this corrective structure, pull back, 3 waves like that, and we're now looking at this one to the upside. Same as AUD, US dollar, we'll be waiting for a corrective structure to confirm that we're going to have this 3-way move to the upside, 1, 2, 3, and then continuation to the downside. The trend is still down, but for now we may get this one to the upside. The metals are looking strong, so this may be the moves that we're looking for. Okay, so look out for corrective structures here, As I said, on Audi as well, you can see this as a expanding flat as well. So you may look at this to give you one to go retest the low there, which it hasn't yet, and then come down, come up, and then do this. Either way, it is a corrective structure. It's a corrective structure that will continue to the downside. But for now, we're looking for this upside first before we come down. That is New Zealand US dollar. Now let's look at the US dollar ZAR. Very interesting. I showed you a trade setup last week. It is playing out perfectly. Let's look at this on the 4 hour. Before we go to the 4 hour, this is the daily that I've been showing for the last couple of days as well. So you've got this one here. It's an ABC pullback, and looking at this one as a WXY to the upside. Now, last week we were here, we had broken here, said wait out for this correction here, and then look for downside. That's just played out inch perfect. Playing out inch perfect there. That's where you, even trendline traders would get that one. I think I did say last week that even trendline traders can get this trade, because you just waivers will be looking for a corrective structure, and trendline traders will call it a retest of this, and just come down here. So what are we looking at? What are we looking for here? I was initially looking for a regular flat, because I wanted this to come retest the top here, but the regular flat is not going to happen. It may just give us another three-way move to the downside here around this area for upside. Let's see if we have projected the blue box here. Yes, we have. So the blue box area is around here. So we're anticipating that if this breaks to the, it has already broken, this can continue all the way down to around 1285, 1245. And that is where we're projecting that this move on the US dollar ZAR is going to end, and then we're going to look for continuation for resumption of the upside move from there. Okay, so let's switch off all the labelings here. So that is the structure that you're looking at for. So what do you have here? What you have now here is a three-wave structure. You've got a W, you've got an X, you've got a Y. Okay, so those that are interested in the labelings, I can just show you this, and then you can take a screenshot of that. This is how we looked at this for the last couple of days, and it's playing out perfectly. So this will now have a higher degree structure. Let's call this WXY, because you've got the three waves there. It's going to be a higher degree, WXY. This should be primary degree in blue, primary, because it is now making a higher degree structure. Perfect setup, easy money here. And we're anticipating the target to be here. Okay, still a long way. We're around the 14 area now. So this is quite a big move, quite a number of points to the downside. All right, so that's what you're looking at on US dollar ZAR. Look for continuation patterns to the downside. All right, so that concludes the US dollar pairs. Let's go to the yen pairs. Pound yen, start with pound yen. So as I said, with all the pound pairs, even pound yen, any move that you see to the upside is look out for continuation to the downside. So it has been correcting for the last couple of days. Let's see here. Let's go, excuse me, let's go to the 4 hour. You'll see that pound yen on the 4 hour, it is making a corrective structure. Let's switch this off here. You've got a three-wave pullback here. I anticipated that from the three-wave, I expected this to push a little bit higher and drop. Okay, this could still make another move like this and make another three-wave. So either way, watch, track this for continuation to the downside. But we've already made such a big move to the downside, so this correction here may not make a big move on breakout. What it could possibly do is give you the last piece to the downside, and then we start getting the reversal there. Let's look at the higher degree here, see how far we are from our target here. So this still has quite some way to go to the downside. So this is the correction that we need to track for downside. if you want to ride the trend. Right, US dollar JPY, a bit of a pullback in the week. Let's have a look in the 1 hour. You can watch the previous videos. The last couple of weeks I've shown on US dollar JPY, the higher degree structure and where we're going long term on this pair. Okay, so we've had the pulsing move to the upside. We've got this one as a pullback. So this one could do that. I think because the euro is looking strong for the week, we may get this one to do that. And then get that and continue to the downside. Either way, it's just going to be a bigger corrective structure for further downside. Okay, so let's watch and see what we get here. We can get this corrective structure here, come retest here, come down here, make this one, and then we go down here. And this could be an ABC structure. We've got a lot of impulsive moves this week. LBC structure, and then we continue the move to the downside. Let's keep an eye on this. There is no setup as yet for this one, but the trend is down. If you look in the weekly, let's go to the daily. I'm on the weekly rather. If you look at the weekly, the trend is down. We're looking for this one to come down here. Okay, the trend is down. So anything that you see here is just a corrective structure, and then we're looking for it to come down there. Similar to what I showed you on pound JPY. Let's go back to the daily on euro. Now the euro, expect this to continue to the upside. Could be making this corrective structure here for further continuation to the downside. You can see that we're all looking to go to the lows that we got in the beginning of the year, the first trading day of the year. Right, so that's what you have here. We're getting this continuation pattern. We expect this one to continue like this. We're making a possible regular flat there. That is euro, so that means you're gonna wait for the move to the downside. If JPY, I anticipated that this was gonna make a simple three-wave move here, 1, 2, 3, and then we drop. Okay, it's not happening like that. So we've got a 1, 2, 3 here, so we could get another one here. 1, 2, 3, making this a WXY structure before we drop. So let's see how this plays out. So if it's making that corrective structure, remember we already have this one here. Let's make this one with different colors. I should have shown that one in red. Could do that. I'm just showing what the structure could play out like here. We can get that. It can be complex like that before we continue the move to the downside. Okay, so let's watch and see if we're gonna get this corrective structure to come and retest the top here. That is CHFJPY, AUDJPY, pullback as well. So we've had this pulsing move here without any real corrective structure. This is the only corrective structure that you got. What this one here was the running flat here. Now this is pulling back. I'm not expecting this to be a reversal. I'm expecting that at some point after this move, we should get a corrective structure and then continue the move to the downside. So that move may not continue with a single correction. It may do this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 5, whichever one it is, we're going to label it as such. So let's anticipate both possibilities, that after the three-wave move, we're going to come to the downside. Or we can retest the top again before we come down. That is AUDJPY. Okay, New Zealand also pullback. Who would have expected an expanding flat, but there isn't any sign of reversal there. So the possibilities are that this can make another corrective structure here, make another three waves there before we drop. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. CADJPY, we've made a three-wave move down. We started a move with three waves. So let's see if we're gonna get a corrective structure and get another move to the upside. Okay, and that's all on the yen pairs. Now let's look at the US dollar pair. Now let's look at silver and gold, and starting with gold. Silver and gold. If you look at gold, this was the decider, this corrective structure. We looked at this corrective structure and that they was going to push higher after this. Actually, I had to look out for this here. So with gold on the weekly, Let's go to the daily. The first target on that one was this one here, because this was going to be the top boundary of the triangle. So when it started correcting here, you could see that it was going to push higher. I said on gold, the next target here, I think we focused at the target on this one here, and that is around 504. So let me just put the blue box there. I expect that at least there should be a reaction or reversal around 1,500. So gold still up, the trend is still up. The trend is still up on gold. Now look out for a corrective structure here. It's not a reversal, guys. It's a corrective structure. Wait for it in the lower time frame. Let's go to the 4 hour. Show it in the 1 hour. So in the 1 hour, you see a pullback in 5 waves. You see an expanding flat, possible pullback. If we continue to the upside, these pullbacks are necessary. So this could be an A, B, C structure, and then we continue the move to the upside. Right, so that is gold. Looks like it's gonna drop some more. Just as a pullback, guys, the trend is up on gold. This is a 1 hour higher degree structure. We're looking for upside. So these are opportunities to enter and ride the trend. All right, so that is gold. Silver. Now silver is correcting. We're still expecting a move to the upside on silver. This is a corrective structure. It's a pullback. It's not a reversal. It's a pullback. It's necessary. So let's see what happens here. On the daily, you can't see the corrective structure clearly, but we're expecting this to continue to the upside when this is done. Now let's go to the lower time frame and try to understand the structure. I'm going to go to the 4 hour. Now if you look on the 4 hour, you've got a pulsing move, correction here, and another 3-way move here. So we've got this, what looks like a corrective structure here. So that means we may get another move like that. Okay, so it's just going sideways, it's not reversal, and then you can expect a move to the upside. So when you need to wait for this correction to complete and look to ride the trend further. Look to ride the trend further. Now, if you remember, this is how we focused it and how we got an entry to continue and ride the trend here on this one. This is what we looked at. Same time we're looking at the corrective structure on gold. We're looking at this ABC structure where the C ended with a diagonal, and then we got the breakout. Now we're waiting for this corrective structure to at least go and retest this area here. Okay, so they are all very clear structures. This is a pullback necessary. Right, so that is silver and gold. Now let's look at the pound pairs. Let's look at the pound pairs. Pound CHF. Let's start with pound CHF. I'm going to show you the daily structure the same way I showed you on US dollar, on pound US dollar. Okay, you see here, we've been saying the same thing on pound CHF as we were on pound US dollar. I'm expecting a move like that. Why? Because we had a big move and a corrective structure. This was our corrective structure. We focused on that structure during this webinars. And now we've got the drop. Okay. What is that structure? It's a 3-wave move to the downside, WX. What is happening here? It has to be 3 waves as well. We already started with the 3 waves, so we're going to expect at some point we're going to get a nice entry point. Could possibly happen at the previous low. Could possibly happen at the previous low here. Support and resistance traders may be caught here because they'll be thinking this is a major zone. But this can actually just be doing this for continuation patterns to the downside. Okay. So now look out for continuation patterns. So what you're seeing here on this pair, let's have a look here. I'm seeing divergence here. So that divergence simply may just give you a 3-wave pullback and continuation pattern to the downside. Okay, because the trend is down. All you're looking for is continuation patterns to the downside. So whatever the divergence can give us, and this looks like a V pattern, it comes with divergence, could come back for one, do this, and then we continue the move to the downside. It will just be a 3-wave pullback. That's pound chief. Rest of the pound pairs spot on with the New Zealand, pound New Zealand. Pound New Zealand, let's go daily. All these setups are looking all very interesting. Show you that it's going to drop here. Look what happened. Look what happened with the pound pairs. If you look at the videos that we did earlier on in the year, we looked at pound New Zealand as a 3-wave correction, and we got this move to the upside, and then we expected a big move to the downside. And it's happening, and that's what you have. And this is the power of the Elliott wave theory. Okay, so now you're getting the big move to the downside. If you have not entered, you're actually late. You need to wait for a deeper pullback, something of this size, something of this size, something of this size. Okay, so this is how powerful wave analysis is. Now you'll see we also have the same thing on pound AUD. Pound AUD has actually made this corrective structure here, which we spoke about, and now we are dropping as well. Okay, what did we say? We're expecting a big move to the downside. That's why I said you don't sell the pound pairs. You can see there's nothing new to analyze. I'm just showing you that the trend is supposed to continue as we forecasted before. All right, that is pound AUD, pound CAD. Need I say more? You saw we forecasted this corrective structure for a couple of days, expecting this move. 1, 2, 3. At some point, you're going to get that one, and then continuation to the downside. At least this one should come and retest the bottom here. Very, very simple analysis there. Or maybe in hindsight, it's simple. Okay, so let's have a look at pound, euro pound. So euro pound, just continuation to the upside because the pound pairs are looking downside. Also, we're looking to go and retest the previous high there. Now, we looked at this as a corrective structure. If you switch on the labeling there, we looked at this as a 3-wave move down, 3-wave move up, and a 3-wave move to the downside. Now we're looking for this one. Continue to the upside. Retest here. Let's do the rest of the euro pairs. I'm going to start with the euro New Zealand because this has been our trade of the week for the last couple of weeks, and it is eventually playing out. It has already broken down here, and I showed you euro New Zealand for I think 2 weeks in a row. Comparison between this one and EUROCHF. 1, 2, 3 there. And I said, I'm expecting a big move to the downside. No reason to get excited as yet. We still need to see how this one is going to play out. But so far, it's playing very nicely, and we've already started to drop. Okay. Now, if we look at EUROCHF, I'm going to bring EUROCHF again and show you why we anticipated that Euro New Zealand was going to drop. So that's Euro New Zealand on the left-hand side on the daily. And I'm going to show EUROCHF as well on the right-hand side. I'm going to switch off the labelings. Switch off the labelings so you can see the daily. Identical, isn't it? And this is not in hindsight. You saw this not years back, not months back, just recently. This is what I was showing you on the videos, that you've got a 3-wave pullback here after a big move to the downside. After this big move to the downside, you had a 3-wave pullback. And we also focused this, even when it was here at the top, that it was going to drop. Look what you got. Now, exactly the same thing. These pairs are in correlation, but they're lagging each other. This one is behind this one. So we're expecting that this one is going to follow the same structure. It has made this one. What do we want? We want it to do this one has already happened. We just want the drop here. We also had this piece here where it looked like it was going to push higher, but it's dropping. This is the power of wave analysis. Okay, you see these things way before they happen. You don't chase the market comes to you. All right, so that is EUROCHF and Euro New Zealand. Let's go to the lower time frames. I don't think there's anything new to see in the lower time frame. So you can just see on the lower time frame, you can see that Euro New Zealand has made another continuation pattern. It doesn't get simpler than this. More money to the downside. We've got a 3-wave pullback here, and we continue to the downside. Now, Euro New Zealand, for our, we've started a move to the downside. We've had a corrective structure here for entry. Let's go to the 1 hour. All we are looking for is continuation patterns. You got this one here, running flat, and we'll continue to the downside. It's not too late. Another one, you can continue to the downside. Keep selling. You're going to get this structure. This is the structure that you're looking for. You're going to get this move. You're going to get this one here. So this one has only just started. We're looking for bigger move to the downside. Okay, so that is Euro New Zealand and EUROCHF. EURAUD, I said you just need to follow what Euro New Zealand is doing. So if Euro New Zealand drops, EURAUD follows. Let's go daily. You see here, it has already started dropping as well. So if you get a corrective structure, it's even better. Then you're looking for downside. Let's switch on here. It has already dropped here. Look for corrective structure here for continuation to the downside. So what structure are we looking at? Are we looking at on EURAUD? You've got a move here to the upside. So it started with a move down here. It looks like we've made a 3-wave move here, expanding flat, and we're coming now with this one. We've made a move down. Let's use pink there. 3-wave move, expanding flat, and now we're dropping. Correction, we're looking for downside. Okay, simple stuff. You just follow EURAUD the same way you follow USDCHF by forecasting Euro US dollar. Okay, EURCAD. EURCAD, this started as a corrective structure, but it's starting to look like a V pattern now. Let's focus this. So this may push a little bit higher if it keeps dropping like this. May even be making an ending diagonal. It's too flat to be an ending diagonal. But let's see how this plays out anyway. So you see that Euro made this bigger corrective structure, same as what EUROCHF. You see what EUROCHF did? We made this 3-wave pullback and then it dropped. Euro New Zealand, what we were expecting, it has made a 3-wave move. It has not dropped yet, so we can anticipate the drop. Okay, EURAUD, we're anticipating the drop as well. So let's see what we get with this move to the downside. Is this going to be a corrective structure? For this to be a corrective structure now, we need to have a structure like this. We have this as a pullback. Okay, this is a 3-wave move here coming down like this. If that is the case, and this is going to be a corrective structure, this has to retest the top here before dropping and giving us this 1, 2, 3 push down here, corrective structure, and downside here. That will be a WXY structure to the downside. Let's see if we're going to get this pullback, and this pullback might come in 3 waves. All right, so that is EUROCAD, and that concludes all the Euro pairs. We've done Audi, New Zealand, CAD, and CHF. Right, let's look at some of the cross pairs. We'll start with Audi, New Zealand. As you've seen, the New Zealand is quite strong, you just look for continuation pattern to the downside. Initially, I thought this was going to be a corrective structure for one more up. But you can see that this has made a 3-wave pullback, and this is starting with a diagonal there. If you're going to enter this, you need to get a pullback like this after the diagonal. Okay? And then continue with the trend. So you can see we've got a news lens, so we're expecting downside there. AUDCAD, we are very close to the previous lows here, but it's not showing aggressive reversal here. Let's see here if we're not gonna get a one more down before we go up to the upside. Either way, you're gonna have this as a pullback and then drop. Maybe can make this structure here and continue to the downside. Right, that is AUDCAD. New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, expect this to at least retest here. This could be a expanding flat for continuation pattern to the downside. New Zealand CHF, the same. We've got a pullback here. Expect at least a 3-wave pullback before any confirmation of reversal. This could come back here and then reverse like that. AUDJPY, the same. You can see all the pairs with the CHF pairs are making pullbacks in 3 waves. It will be easier to focus how far these pullbacks are going to go after we get the corrective structures. Okay. That is AUDJPY, CADJPY. Also could be making an expanding flat here for continuation to the downside. Okay. So those are all the, so you need to watch, here's a second alternative here. So this could be, let's see, we've got a 3-wave move here to the downside. 1, 2, 3. We could be going up here, this being another 3 waves, and we get this one to do this and retest the top here. The question is whether we're going to get one down first before we go. So how we're going to confirm that? We need to get a corrective structure at current levels to confirm to us that we're going to get a move to the upside. Right, and lastly, oil. Let's look at oil. If you look at oil on the daily, it's pushing higher. So as I said here with oil, expect a corrective structure or expect oil to go sideways from current levels. So we've got a pulsing move here. So it can start correcting from current levels like that because we wanted this to come and retest the top here before any resumption of the move to the downside. So it can do that and then we drop. So this is long-term focused. For now, the immediate move and the short-term expectation for oil is continuation to come and retest this 66 area here. Let's look at the lower degree here on the 4-hour. So this does not mean reversal at all. So this can just simply mean you've got an impulse, you get a corrective structure, come back here and continue to the upside. So let's watch and see what we get from that. All right, guys, I think we've covered all the pairs. Thank you for joining me. Have a great weekend, guys, and look out for the timestamps in a couple of hours. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the like button. Thank you. Have a great week. Cheers. Bye-bye. You're welcome, guys. Thank you. Enjoy, and I hope you make money.